You, of course, fought against Donald Trump to get the nomination. Why have you come here to support him now?
Well, you know, we have an election coming up, and it's a very important election because it will determine what kind of nation that the United States is. Will it be the nation that traditionally has been self-reliant and focused on the people, or will it become a nation where the government becomes central and controls the lives of everybody?
Do you think the nation can trust Donald Trump? I mean, we've got the guy who helped him write The Art of the Deal say that he fears if he becomes president, he's got such a short temper he might blow us all up.
Well, you know, I've gotten to know Donald Trump quite well, and he's a very rational person, and he will also surround himself with very rational people. I really think that that's an illegitimate concern.
I mean, there is an awesome responsibility, though, isn't it?
It is a big responsibility, and he recognizes that he can't do it by himself. And if you look at the Trump empire around the world, it's very well run, but he doesn't micromanage it.
So, in other words, people should vote for him to be president because he won't do everything.
Not so much that, but because the choice is very, very clear. You go with Donald Trump, somebody who's actually accomplished something, who understands business, who is concerned about the education and recognizes that we have a system that is hurting people, who understands that our penal system is completely out of whack, and understands honesty, and understands that if the United States is weak, it necessarily weakens our allies and it weakens the world, and it creates a situation that is much more volatile than when we're strong.
Is the Republican Party weak, though, because of Donald Trump, in the sense that the last two Republican presidents, the Bushes, aren't here, the last two Republican candidates, John McCain and Mitt Romney, are not here, a lot of US senators are staying away? I mean, that doesn't portray a party that's comfortable with itself.
Well, you have to kind of understand the political attitude here in America. People are tired of the status quo. Both Democrats and Republicans are the ones who've led us to the situation where we're in now. We're on the brink of financial disaster. Our military is weak. We have social unrest. We have everybody fighting each other. We have little in the way of leadership. And quite frankly, a lot of the traditional politicians don't like this, because here's a man that they can't control. They don't like it. Democrats or Republicans, they don't like that.
Are you disappointed that they're not here, or is it actually doing you a favor, do you think?
That who's not here?
That the Presidents Bush aren't here?
Well, I would prefer that they be here, and I think that they will eventually recognize that, you know, their choices are pretty stark here. And I know some of them are saying, well, we'll hold our nose and we'll vote for Hillary. And we'll only have to tolerate it for 4 or 8 years. But it's not true. You'll have to tolerate the legacy for generations, because the Supreme Court will be changed. And you've already got 4 very progressive justices on there. You add 1 more, that's all you need to add, and off you go in a direction that was never intended in America.
Do you think the mood here is perhaps like it was in Britain when we voted to leave the European Union against the advice of our political leadership and experts?
I think there are some similarities there, absolutely. But even more so in this country, because, you know, this country was designed of, for, and by the people. And our founders very specifically said, if the people are not vigilant, then the government here will do what all governments naturally do. They grow, they infiltrate, and they take control of your life.
Britain is today debating the nuclear deterrent, and of course the British Prime Minister wants to renew the Trident missile system. How important an ally is Britain to the United States, particularly after rejecting the President's advice and voting against the European Union? Well,
Britain has always been one of our strongest, if not our strongest and most reliable ally.
Is it still?
I would certainly hope so. And, you know, the people of Great Britain, I think, understand the danger of the world we live in. You live much closer to Vladimir Putin than we do, and certainly understand the dangers that are posed by people who have different values and goals.
You do, of course, have dangers at home, if I can put it like that, which we've seen in Baton Rouge over the weekend with the shooting of the police officers there, before that in Dallas, and the racial tensions which seem to be at the core of that.
Yes.
What should Donald Trump do to deal with that?
Well, I think this is where leadership really comes in, because you can't come in and fan the flames like President Obama does, and then in the next breath say, but we all got to get along, we all got to be nice. You know, you've got to begin to really get to the core issue here. It's the relationships, and the relationships are very, very poor between police and the citizens in many of these communities. You combine that with the fact that, particularly in the African American community, 73% of the babies are born out of wedlock. You got young boys growing up with no father's influence.
But you're an African American. Do you feel the police treat you like a suspect?
I personally have not had any negative encounters throughout my life, but my mother was very forceful in teaching us that the police are your friends and that you treat them with respect. So even though I had many encounters with police, they were never negative encounters for that reason.
Dr. Ben Carson, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
A pleasure.